Let us start with a few problems on rotational kinetics. The first problem, this is a cylinder. This is a stand on which the cylinder is fit. From this cylinder, wire is wrapped around it, and the wire comes down. From that wire, a mass of m is hung. So the weight mg acts downwards. Tension from the tension from the rope is T upwards. Tension from this rope T at this point is downwards. The mass of the cylinder is m, and the radius is capital R. So for the cylinder, the mass is capital M, and the radius of the cylinder is capital R. So the problem goes as: a flexible rope is wrapped several times around a solid cylinder of mass capital M and radius capital R, which rotates with no friction, about a fixed horizontal axis. If you can take this to be the axis of the cylinder, so it rotates along that fixed horizontal axis. Now the free end of the rope is tied to a mass. of mass small m, which is released from the rest, at distance h above the flow. So if this is the flow, this height is h. Now this is released, this small mass m is released from rest at distance h above the flow. They have asked us to find out the speed and angular velocity of cylinder just as the mass m strikes the flow. We can solve this problem in two processes. Process number one, it is known as the energy method. As we have already discussed this method in the linear section also. That is, loss in potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy. So loss in potential energy means this mass falls down a distance of small h. So the loss is mgh. The loss in potential energy is mgh. Now the gain in kinetic energy, that is 1 is half mv square. The speed of the rope increases, or the mass increases downwards. That is the translational kinetic energy, as well as we have got the rotational kinetic energy, because as the mass comes down, the cylinder starts to rotate on its own axis, resulting in a gain of rotational kinetic energy as well. So if you replace I here, I is equal to half mr square. Why we have written half mr square? Because the moment of inertia of the cylinder about an axis passing through its center and is half mr square. So after replacing I as half mr square and omega as v by r, we can get mgh is equal to half mv square plus half of I means half mr square and v by r whole square. Now solving this, will get, if we subtract this m, or eliminate this m from both sides of the equation, so 1 by 4. So v is equal to square root of 2gh by 1 plus m by 2m. Now we can do the same problem in another process number 2, which we can name it as dynamical method. That means we have to write two equations, one for a translational motion and one for the rotational motion. Now for the cylinder and the block m, the weight of the block acts downwards by height h. So tension is T, tension here is T. So we write two equations, one for translational motion, that is mg minus T, because the block comes downwards, so mg is greater than T, so mg minus T is equal to ma. Now for rotational motion, the equation will be TR is equal to I alpha. Now why do we write this TR? This is T, the radius of the cylinder is R, so the line of action of this tension force goes along the center of the cylinder. So TR helps the rope to be released as the block M falls downwards. So TR is equal to I alpha. Now what is alpha? From A is equal to R alpha, that means the acceleration of translation of mass small m and angular acceleration of cylinder is alpha. Angular acceleration of the cylinder, alpha is the angular acceleration of the cylinder. Now in the question we have found out that there is no slipping of the rope over the cylinder. The cylinder is rotating and the rope is coming downwards. Now the angular velocity of this cylinder is translated as the linear velocity of the rope downwards. So A is equal to R alpha. So we can replace alpha as A by R. So T is equal to IA by R square. Now if we take this one as the first equation, this one as the second equation, we can solve 1 and 2. That means we replace the value of T here and try to find out what is A. The value comes out to be like this: mg m plus I by R square. Now by solving these equations 1 and 2, we get the value of A as this. Now the trick to write this equation very quickly instead of solving this problem was or is the force which acts downwards on this block is mg. Now for the translational motion, we know what is A. Linear acceleration is F by m. Now what is the force acting on this system? Only the weight of this block downwards. So this is mg, and m means the total mass of the system here. The total mass of the system means mass of the cylinder, and this one we know the mass of the block is small m, and we have to write the mass of the cylinder, which we can write in the form of I is equal to mr square. From that we can get I by R square. The mass of the cylinder we can write I by R square, because we know that I is equal to mr square. So m is equal to I by R square. Now as this is a cylinder which is rotating about its own axis, the value of I, we already know that it is half of mr square. So we replace the value of I here, mg by m plus mr square by 2r square. So r square gets cancelled, mg by m plus m by 2, cancelling out m from the numerator and denominator, we get m by 2m. So acceleration value is g by 1 plus m by 2m. They have asked us to find the speed or the angular velocity of the cylinder. Now the starting velocity of the cylinder was 0, so we can write the end velocity or the final velocity. The final velocity of cylinder equal to v. So equation v square is equal to u square plus 2ah, not gh. U is 0. So v square is equal to 2ah. Now what is A? We have already found out A, g by 1 plus m by 2m into h. So v, square root of this form, 2gh by 1 plus m by 2m. It was v square, so it becomes v is equal to 2gh 1 plus m by 2m. Now angular velocity we can find out as omega is equal to v by r, angular velocity of the cylinder. So the radius of the cylinder is capital R. So 1 by r square root of 2gh by 1 plus m by 2m. Second problem, a rod of length L is pivoted about a horizontal frictionless pin. This is the pin. Through one end, the rod is released from rest. This rod is released from rest. If you take this rod like this, we have released it from rest. It falls in this fashion. In a vertical position as shown, find the velocity of the center of mass of the rod when the rod is inclined at an angle theta from the vertical. Inclined at an angle theta from the vertical. Now in this process we can see that the center of mass is falling downwards. It has fallen through a distance of h. Now when the rod was vertical, we have taken the center of mass to be at the center of the rod at a height of L by 2 from the pin. So the distance of fall of the center of mass when the angle between the positions, two positions are theta, is theta. So the height fallen by the center of mass is h. So height fallen by center of mass is h. Now in this process, what has happened, that is the decrease in potential energy is equal to the increase in kinetic energy, but we have to state what kinetic energy? Rotational kinetic energy, because the rod has started to rotate with respect to the position of the pin. Now what is decrease in potential energy? mgh. H is the distance fallen by the center of mass, is equal to half I omega square. Now what is h? We can write h as L by 2 1 minus cos theta. What is h? It is L by 2 1 minus cos theta. And what is I? The axis is passing through one end of the rod. So ml square by 3. ml square by 3 omega square. From this you can eliminate m, eliminate 1 L, and value of omega becomes 3g by 2. So half also gets cancelled. So 3g by L 1 minus cos theta. Now the velocity of center of mass. The velocity of center of mass. So V is equal to omega R. Now what is omega? We've already found out. 3g by L into 1 minus cos theta into L by 2, the radius R, or the position of the center of mass from the pin. So solving we can get L and L once it gets cancelled. So 3gl 1 minus cos theta by 2, if we take into the bracket, becomes 4. So the value of the velocity of the center of mass of the rod, velocity of the center of mass of the rod when the rod is inclined at an angle of theta with the vertical. Now third problem, two small blocks of masses m1 and m2 are attached to the ends of the cord which passes over a pulley of mass m and radius r. So if we take a pulley like this, whatever we have studied in the Newton's laws of motion, the pulley were taken to be the massless. Now in this case, the pulley is having a mass of capital M with a radius of r. So radius of the pulley is r. The string passes over the pulley. Two blocks are hung. One is m1 and another is m1 and another is m2. This is m1, this is m2. Pulley of mass m. So mass of this pulley is m. Now as the pulley has a mass m and as the pulley starts to rotate, now if we take m1 to be greater than m2, so the value of the weight is m1g, value of the weight here is m2g. If m1 is greater than m2, then this block falls down with an acceleration of a. This block moves down with an acceleration of a, and the pulley is rotating with an angular velocity of omega. Now we have to write the equation of the block diagram of the pulleys. So tension T1, tension T2. Now you can see that the tension is not the same in the two strings as we have done earlier in the chapter of Newton's laws. Here the tension force is not same because the pulley has got a mass and the pulley has got a rotational inertia. As the pulley has got a rotational inertia, the rope is not falling down due to this m1g only. The rope is not falling down, or rather the subtraction of the two forces m1g minus m2g. As m1g is more than m2g, the rope is falling down, or the block is falling down. The block is falling down due to two reasons. One is m1g minus m2g, the force or the resultant force, and another one is the rotational inertia of this pulley. The rope is not slipping over the pulley. So for the block diagram of this first one, we can write is m1g minus t1 is equal to m1a. These are all translational equations and not rotational equations. The first translational equation is m1g minus t1 is equal to m1a. Now for the block 2, you can write it for block m1. Now for block m2, what will be the equation? Same equation as we have discussed earlier. T minus m2g is equal to m2a. And the equation for the rotation of the pulley. So rotational motion, the equation will be, now as the block m1 falls downwards, so the pulley is rotating in a clockwise fashion. So the tension force T1, or rather the torque due to the tension force T1 must be more than the torque due to the tension force T2. So T1R, that is the torque due to the tension force T1, minus T2R, or the tension force or the torque due to the tension force T2, must be equal to I alpha. Torque is equal to I alpha. Again we know what is alpha. I is equal to A by R. So T1 minus T2 into R is equal to A by R. So T1 minus T2 is equal to A by R square. So these are the three equations that we have got. We have to just try to solve the equation by replacing the value of T1 and T2. So this is the first equation, this is the second equation, this is the third equation. The simple way to find out the value is to replace the value of T1 from the first equation. So the first equation, take T1, second equation find T2, and replace T1 and T2 in equation number 3. Equation number 3, we will get the value of the acceleration. So acceleration will come out to be like this: m1g minus m2g by m1 plus m2 plus I by r square. Now for a pulley, this is a cylindrical, disc system, disc. So the value of I for a disc we already know, that is to be half m r square. Now this is a process how we solve these types of problem. Now for joint entrance and other examinations, we can straightforward write the equation or the value of A, that is the subtraction of the forces m1g minus m2g, or the resultant force downwards, or the linear resultant force downward is m1g minus m2g. So the resultant force is here A is equal to F by M. So the resultant force is here, and total mass of the system. Now this is M1, this is M2, so M1 plus M2, and also the mass of capital M here, I by R square. Question number 4. Now this problem is similar to the problem number 3, but instead of one pulley, I've got two pulleys. In this case, we will be writing, or we will try to write the value of acceleration straightforward. They have asked us to find the acceleration of the blocks. Here we will use the principle that we have discussed last. that is the resultant force, that is unbalanced force or resultant force. We can write unbalanced force by total inertia. The total inertia means translational as well as rotational. Now what is inertia of rotation in this case, or rather inertia of translation? So inertia of translation, that is simple m1 plus m2, and inertia of rotation, that is I1 R1 I2 R2. So we can write I1 by R1 square plus I2 by R2 square. So the value of a unbalanced force means is m1g is larger than m2g. We can write m1 minus m2 into g as unbalanced force, and the bottom was, that is inertia of translation as well as the inertia of rotation, I1 by R1 square plus I2 by R2 square. T1 is equal to m1 into g minus a. Here T1 is equal to m1 into g minus a, and T2 is equal to m2 into g plus a. So to get T3, now what was T3? T3 was the tension force acting between the two pulleys. We can write the equation as T1 R1 minus, T3 R1, T1 R1 minus T3 R1 equal to I1 A by R1. So this is the answer. T1 R1 now from how did you get this equation? That is, we have applied the resultant force principle on this pulley. So T3 R1 and T1 R1. Oh, this was T1, T1, T2, T1 R1. So T1 R1 minus T3 R1, because this mass is coming downwards, so the pulley is rotating in this fashion. So the torque due to T1 will be more than the torque due to T3. So T1 R1 minus T3 R1 is equal to I1 A by R1, I alpha. So I1 A by R1.